Yesterday, I got a notification from YouTube that they had issued me a warning that could potentially lead to a community strike, frankly, a death knell for any YouTube content creator. Now, they said that I had delivered, quote, misinformation on the recent Sunday live show. The problem is, out of 3.5 hours, YouTube decided to not tell me what they believed or what they allege this misinformation to be. It's a little frustrating when you're a content creator and you get slapped with one of the most punitive measures that YouTube can hand down and offers no explanation. And I thought it was important to discuss this with my channel viewers and members because you guys need to know some of the crazy stuff that we have to deal with as content creators on a regular basis. I bring this up because my members who are so generous, and one of the perks is being able to watch the complete live shows after we conclude, because normally they go to members only. Well, you'll notice that the one from Sunday is gone. YouTube has completely removed it. It ripped it down today. Not even members can see it. I got an email this afternoon around noontime, around 1 o'clock, maybe somewhere in between. And I was told that I was getting, for the first time in nearly 4 years on YouTube, a community strike warning. That's not a full strike, to be fair. It is a warning, meaning if this incident happens again between now and January 23rd, I guess, 90 days, then it will turn into a full strike against my channel. Of course, as is typical with YouTube and their complete lack of being able to communicate effectively with the very creators that provide them content that generates their entire basis for revenue, they couldn't explain to me what was wrong. I get a warning for the show on Sunday telling me they have already stripped it from YouTube. It won't be visible anywhere. It never will be again. It is demonetized with no explanation, other than a very vague description of misleading information. To which, of course, I perked up and wondered, well, pray tell, what is the misleading, quote-unquote, according to you, YouTube, what is the misleading information? There was no information given. It was just a blank stare, as blank as Cynthia Erivo's stare into the camera for that god-awful Wicked movie poster. So, of course, I took the liberty of availing myself of the options that I had given this community strike warning. The first of which was to go through a brief training course on community strike guidelines. It's a 7-question yes or no answer kind of thing, true, false. I went through the course as YouTube afforded in their notification. And then I had an option of submitting for an appeal, which of course I did. And in my submission for appeal, my notes were very simply and very politely worded, very professionally worded. And I don't have it in front of me right now, but it was to the effect of, I would like to know with specificity what exactly it is that I'm being warned about. What is this community strike notification regarding? Apart from just telling me a 3.5-hour live stream. What misinformation was in there? I would love to be able to respond to this more effectively. And I would love to be able to answer questions more specifically because perhaps there is some misunderstanding. Or, of course, as we all know, YouTube simply uses algorithms and bots to go ahead and look at this. Or there's a false flagging campaign, one or the other. That's usually what the case is for YouTube. Unless it's something blatant. You know, you film yourself committing a crime or something along those lines or what have you. So that was my request. I was told at that moment that it would take up to 72 hours for a review a full manual, quote unquote, manual review and a response. And again, in my response, I was making it clear I don't even know what to respond to. Would you please come back and tell me specifically what is here? Typically, when you get a copyright claim, not a strike, but a copyright claim on a live show or a video, which I've had my fair share of over time, because you never know how different copyright holders will react, at least algorithmically, once again, to your use of their content, at least, using it. Let's just say the magic key to YouTube is that if you're going to use licensed content, for example, clips from a movie trailer to react to or something along those lines, brevity is the soul of safety in this case. So typically you want your clips to be, at most 7 to 10 seconds. Now, there are some out there that for years have been far more stringent. Warner Brothers, in fact, is very strict. I don't even use clips from Warner Brothers trailers anymore because you'll get copyright struck for 2 seconds. I had this problem many times. But typically with those, when you get these notifications from YouTube, they tell you straight up, this is the segment of your video or live stream that is problematic. And they will give you timestamps. They will tell you it is between this minute and second and this minute and second. And then you can go in and clearly see, okay, I went a little over the limit with a clip of a trailer that was unencumbered, right? Okay, I can deal with that. We can adjust. It can be frustrating, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. We all have things to deal with. When it comes to this community strike, and this is the difference, community strikes on YouTube are channel killers. Straight up channel killers, at least potentially, right? If you rack up enough of them. Now, and again, the level of just pure ambiguity with which they deliver these is what is stunning. Copyright claims you can get around. Typically, the worst that will happen is the video is demonetized or it may become invisible permanently. You can move on and make another video and do your thing, and your channel is not destroyed unless you are repeatedly reposting copyrighted material. Now, if you do that, you're doing it knowingly and obviously, and, well, if you do that all the time, then you probably are a fool, okay? And I'm not talking about parody. I'm not talking about transformative. I'm not talking about making commentary. I am talking about just routinely posting copyrighted material. Now, in the case of a community strike, in this case, misinformation, you would think, given the level of severity with which YouTube treats these things, and especially if you accumulate 2 or 3 of them, and you could potentially have an entire lucrative financial enterprise, a business utterly destroyed, people lose their jobs, their incomes, you would think that YouTube might be a little bit more transparent with what the issue is. It's the exact opposite. They are 100% vague, apart from telling you what the offending piece was. It's something here in this 3.5-hour live stream. There's something in here, Valiant, that we're giving you a warning on for the most dire of YouTube punishments. What is it? That's the appeal. The appeal was, what is it exactly? Because we talk about a lot of things during a live stream. Multiple topics, multiple things come up. The appeal was returned not, I don't think, 15 to 20 minutes later. Denied. What was denied? I can't appeal again. I can't reach out to YouTube again to request, once more, clarification on what this warning was about. You see, YouTube, if you actually want us to avoid certain things that you consider problematic, then it seems incumbent upon you to actually properly and clearly inform the content creators that generate the material that pays your bills. Tens of billions of dollars a year in revenue generated to Google from YouTube in advertising revenue based on user-generated content. If you don't even want to bother to tell your content creators who you claim to love and cherish and respect exactly what the mistake is that they might or may not have made, then how do you expect us to actually ever be able to correct the issue? Because as far as I knew, what exactly in the Sunday live stream was quote-unquote misinformation? Now, during a live show, you talk about a lot of topics, like we said. There's a lot of parody in there. There are a lot of jokes. There's a lot of things that are kind of deliberately done out of context to make jokes, and the audience recognizes what the jokes are. But when you tell me that I am delivering misinformation, and then you don't tell me what you claim that to be, that's a problem for me as a creator. And forget the fact that I may disagree with you on whatever it is, because honestly, I can't even answer that question because I don't know. YouTube, you didn't tell me. But how am I supposed to fix that or avoid certain things going forward if I don't know what they are? To me, I think, quite frankly, those are poor business practices. It's one of the reasons why creators on this space have, over the last several years, gravitated towards other platforms. Other places like Rumble or Odyssey or what have you. The problem, of course, with these other platforms is that compared to YouTube, they pay maybe pennies on the dollar by comparison. And when I say pennies, I do mean a penny. So you're kind of stuck. And I don't mind playing inside of YouTube's own guidelines. That's not so much an issue. It can be frustrating because I think some of the times these guidelines are very onerous, but more problematic, they are very ambiguous. And when you want to hit me with something about your guidelines and you refuse, even after an appeal, to tell me what exactly it was that caused the issue, I have a problem with that, and I don't think it's fair. And I'm not trying to sound like a whiny person here. From a business situation, if you had an employee or a business partner or something along the lines and you just said, you did something wrong and we're going to punish you. Okay, fair enough. Tell me what I did wrong. Let's see if we can correct the situation. No, we're not going to tell you what you did wrong. It was something that you did wrong, on this day. Well, I can't think of anything. I genuinely don't know. What is it? Please tell me. Let's have the conversation. I am willing to discuss this. No, we're not going to tell you. How do you run a business like that? You can't. You can't. And it's disappointing that YouTube, they are a mature company. This is the biggest streamer in the world, right? In terms of a platform. They consume more watch time than Netflix does every month. And we can't do simple things like this correctly. That being said, I took it upon myself to try to narrow down what could be the cause. Because, of course, I have to, because I really have no idea at that moment what in the world could this have been. So I started thinking, what did I do Sunday that was different? Or what did we cover Sunday that was different? My first thought, which is, and again, I have no way to confirm this. I have no way to know what's wrong because YouTube refuses to tell me. And I said, well, we had some Kamala Harris, clips of her laughing and talking poorly at a town hall conference setting from, I think it was from a year or two ago when she was at the Philippine embassy or something like this. I don't even want to play the clip because I think that clip, after I did some digging, is probably the culprit. And here's why. And it's a silly reason. And I'm going to show you how absolutely just biased I think YouTube is in this regard. And we really are at a sad point. The maximum amount of freedom of speech, if there should be such a thing, I think there should always be a maximum amount of free speech because that's what the First Amendment says we're entitled to. That is a God-given, constitutionally protected right. It's not granted by the Constitution. It's not granted by the federal government of the United States of America. It is given to us as a birthright by God. That's how this country was formed. That's how the Constitution is written. Okay? These are just historical facts. It's not a religious issue. These are historical facts as to how the document was drafted in 1787, ratified in 1789. But our free speech should never be impinged, ever, especially at this point in our 4-year cycle before a presidential election cycle, or before a presidential election day, pardon me. Now, I don't have an issue with certain things that are maliciously generated, absurdly false, being taken down. Because, yes, there are many bad actors out there. There is also quite a bit of parody. And in the case of the video that I'm discussing, it was a 29 or 30-second video. And again, I still have it backstage. We all joked about it Sunday. Kamala Harris's ridiculous, I'm a joyful person. I'm a joyful warrior. Very slow, kind of silly nonsense coming out of her mouth. Here's what I found. And I pulled that video down from a cacophony of different X accounts. It was out there. And it was a video that corresponded to real news that was out there from, I think, 2022 was when that was from. So I thought nothing of it. This is part of this speech. I saw it, the speech. I said, okay, let me get a clip of this. Apparently, and I don't know if I sent the link here to this computer, but it's on my laptop. The short version is this. There was an article that came out from a couple of places yesterday that said the Kamala Harris video that we played Sunday is a quote-unquote fake. Oh, really, is it? Okay. So I read on. The video in question that was circulated on X, which we showed here Sunday because it was funny as hell, the claim is it's not fake if you actually read into the article. It's not fake at all. It's totally real. But there was a version of the video that was slowed down, and the clip that we played was about 29 to 30 seconds. It was slowed down from 24 to 25 seconds. So from about 25 seconds to 30 seconds. And this is what triggered, I think, because this has been all over the news media yesterday. Bad actors are trying to make her sound drunk, incoherent, blah, blah, blah. No words of Kamala Harris's were doctored. No pauses were edited or anything. It was slowed down a bit, a few seconds, from 24, 25 seconds to about 30 seconds. That's not a substantial amount. We didn't slow down a 15-second clip of Kamala Harris of 15 seconds down to 30 seconds. 24 to 25 to 30. If you watch the 24-second clip, there is barely any measurable difference between her speech pattern. I'm sorry. There just isn't. It is still stupid, incoherent, nonsense, slow, and yes, I still think she's drunk. because we've seen too many other videos like it. I mean, we're talking about a slowdown of like 20%, not 2x, not 3x, not 4x. 0.2, 0.25 times slower. This is, and again, I don't know, and I'm going to make this clear. I cannot say with certainty that is what it was. Because again, YouTube won't open their mouths. They just want to strike me for it. And I simply could have responded if I'd known, if they said affirmatively, hey, this is the issue. Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was a regular video. It was an honest mistake because it's all over the internet. It's been there for a while. So the version that I grabbed was slowed down by, frankly, a very small amount. It had no material impact, really, to be honest, because if you watch the original one, and I don't even want to dare play that one, because YouTube is not friendly to their creators with this kind of thing. If I play the regular one, then I have a high degree of probability that YouTube is going to, once again, misinterpret things. The algorithm's going to catch it, and then my warning will turn into a full-blown strike. And then I'm basically one step away from not having a channel on YouTube anymore. So we can't even have an honest conversation presenting the facts and the evidence to the audience so they know what's going on, because YouTube is broken. It is broken from a regulatory standpoint. It is broken from a compliance standpoint. It is broken from, in my opinion, broken in the sense that they can't even enforce their own guidelines in a fair and just manner. And that's very disappointing for somebody like me. I think it's very disappointing for a lot of folks out there. I think it's disappointing for a lot of content creators out there. And something needs to be done. I hope in the future that YouTube is going to get better at doing the job that they say they want to do. Because right now, it ain't working. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.